Good evening, good evening. First of all, on behalf of our Superintendent and School Board, thank you all so much for your attendance tonight at the forum. Before we get started, we do have translations available, so I would like to give a round of applause to our outstanding School District of Lee County teachers who are here and will be hopefully going forward at our remaining forums to provide translation for our citizens and parents who might need that additional support. So, Mr. Marete, you have something you want to say?
Cualquier persona que necesite ayuda con interpretación, tenemos los dispositivos aquí.
Okay, thank you, sir. Jessica?
Si gen aucun moun ki ta reme yon appareil ki pou aider pou comprendre présentation en créole, s'il vous plaît, ouais avec.
Thank you all so much. So in case we have attendees who need that support, those are available for support as we go forward for the night. We're going to continue with our format as we traditionally have it. So we will go forward with our introduction and welcome by our outstanding school board member, Ms. Giovannelli, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, everybody, and I'm glad for everybody that showed up, and hopefully that aren't able to make it tonight can catch this on our website and so further that. I'm glad to be here. This is a wonderful school, a big school, and that's awesome because Lee County is big these days. So I just want to let everybody know we have a couple important programs, the SOS program, which is Save Our Students, and that is about soft skills, that everybody talks about that, and I think it's really important that the summer program that we have that gets out there, because we need business partners for that, always. We have the students, we need the partnership, more support than anything. So the community is what we need, a lot of assistance and supports. And so it's really important if you want to go to our website. The SOS program is really important and it has a lot of information, and I'm sure we know someone that will benefit from it, including the businesses, because I can assure you our students are wonderful and they would really help out our community. Also, the census, I just want to remind everybody that every head counts. Everyone, and every head brings more dollars back to Lee County, and that's probably the most important thing. We want to make sure that all these parents that have students and that are maybe scared to count all their children, it's important that they do that because it brings lots of money back to Lee County. So if you know people, you're a realtor, so you know people, and you got to remind them the census is this year, and it's really important that we all make sure that we report all our numbers in our households. And that's it. I'm going to turn it over to back to Jerry. Thank you. Everyone's coming.
Thank you so much. Our next person is going to do an introduction, Ms. Anita Carter, the assistant principal here at Heights Elementary.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you to everyone for coming out. My name is Anita Carter. I'm the assistant principal here. Our principal is Douglas Palo. Unfortunately, he could not be here tonight. He had another event. So again, we want to welcome you. Our school, we currently have enrolled about 1,164 students here. We're a large school. We're an Ivy school. We have a beautiful campus it was rebuilt, I believe, in 2009. So again, we'd like to welcome you here. And I also would like to thank Dr. Adkins, School Board Member Melisa Giovannelli, as well as district staff for allowing us to hold the forum here at our school tonight. Again, we have refreshments in the back, and thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. It's an important notation that these forums are presented in each one of our school board member districts. So this is our third forum in the series to remain for the rest of the school year in partnership with the Lee County NAACP branch number 5110. Traditionally, we have introductions and remarks by representatives of the branch. Unfortunately, they're not able to join us tonight, but it's worth noting that this is a partnership between the school district and our local NAACP. With that being said, I will turn it over to our Superintendent Dr. Gregory Adkins for his welcome to our guests.
Okay, again, it's been stated, but I can't overstate it. So I'm very appreciative of the fact that you all took the time to be here this evening. I think it's engagement of our community and our parents in the educational process is really critical to the success of our students. Just a little bit about the agreement with the NAACP. One of the things that we found was that we have a lot of alignment in terms of what our mission is in Lee County in terms of the NAACP branch, local branch here, and also our school district. And that is about, we have a real interest in forwarding the interests of our community and making sure we have wonderful educational opportunity for our students. So a lot of the goals of this particular agreement, I think it's really important for us to have partners like the NAACP that help support us in those goals and also advocate around for us to be able to meet those goals. Whether you're looking at closing achievement gaps, which is something that's a part of the agreement and the work, diversity and inclusion, and doing professional development around the district, which is something that has been an ongoing initiative. Of course, we have many members in this room that have been a part of that, including our director, Jerry Bonelli, and then working on student discipline and behavior. So that is, again, all of these are goals that are part of the agreement, but the piece and why we're here tonight is because the NAACP and the school district are interested in engaging in our community and actually being accessible to our community in our different neighborhoods. So with us tonight, we have a number of really top-notch experts in their department. I tell people now that really in my 17, 18 years of being down in the district office, and this is like I'm in my 32nd year in the school district, but in 17, 18 years working in the district office, this is in my opinion, the most talented group of individuals that has ever been assembled. And so I'm happy that many of them here this evening. They'll introduce themselves as we get on with our evening and with this event, but I would really highly encourage you to be able to seek these people out for your questions and concerns. That's why we're here. One of the goals, again, of the NAACP was to engage the community and have district officials available out at these events. So instead of parents and community members calling and trying to track down these individuals, that we would make them readily available to you. So again, I really deeply appreciate the fact that you are here, because your engagement in student education, particularly your students' education, is critically important to the success of those students. There's a couple good news items that we just got today. We did just got the information back on our graduation rate, so I'm really, really happy about that. It's increased just about another 1%, so we're continuing to break records in the school district, and so that's something that's super happy about. It's I think it's 83.7%, and then if you take out charter schools and just look at our 13 schools that are reporting in terms of our regular high schools, it's a little over 92%. And so we're still working on, we want to get every school, including our partners that are charter schools, up to 90%. So we're continuing to make progress toward that goal. I'm really happy about that. We also were able to make some progress in terms of some of our achievement gaps, like our African American students that we increased at a faster rate, our ELL students, and also our ESE students. So again, some real progress that I'm just happy to report that is really in alignment with the goals of this evening and the alignment with the goals of our agreement with the NAACP. So, that having been said, it is my pleasure to introduce the first of our expert speakers of this evening, Mr. Chuck Bradley. He's our Director of Positive Prevention, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about his initiative across our district and what his team has been working on. So, Mr. Bradley.
Thank you, sir. And good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I'm going to talk with you about positive prevention this evening and kind of unpack what that means. I want to also mention that I work very much in collaboration with another person in the room tonight, and that is Ms. Tammy Scott, who's here in the back. Tammy asked if I would drive the presentation, and she will then meet with you individually to talk a little bit more about the MTSS side of the world, and I'll explain all of those acronyms here in just a minute. So I wanted to just talk about the alignment, and so Dr. Adkins mentioned that we're very much focused on our goals. And these are two of the goals from the Envision 2030 strategic plan for the district that my role and many of the roles in this room help to impact. Goal 12, increase the percentage of students who perceive that there's an adult that cares about them. Now that's an important goal. because it measures whether students are connecting effectively in school. And we know that if they're not engaged affectively, that they tend not to be engaged academically. So we want to make sure that we are achieving that goal. Goal 18, to increase physical safety of the district for students and staff. And so Mr. Parfit is here tonight. He's very involved in making sure that we have a safe physical environment. And the two go hand in hand, to make sure that we have a safe physical environment and also a safe psychological environment for our students so that they can achieve. So, where does all that come from? So those of you that have an education or a psychology background, maybe you've heard something about this in the past. This is based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And all of us come every day, every place we go, with these needs. Our students come through our doors with these needs. And they come with physiological needs. And when they're hungry, we feed them. When they're tired, we work with that too. But we certainly make sure that their physiological needs are met. Their safety needs, as we just mentioned. Their belonging needs, those social emotional needs, that they have a place where they feel like they belong. Their esteem, that they have a feeling of accomplishment, a feeling of success. That's important for motivation. And then finally, the self-actualization. So this is all in Maslow's hierarchy. Well, the reality is that higher functioning learning with critical skills and standards-based learning happens primarily at the top. I like to think of it this way. That's a series of doorways. And that doorway into academic learning is all the way in the back. And if we don't meet students' needs through all those other doorways, we can't get the students there. So that's the purpose of my role and Ms. Scott's role and many of the others in the room, to make sure that all of those other needs are being met for our students so that they can get to the learning and so that they can succeed and so they can graduate, and we see the evidence of that happening in our district. So we have put together kind of a model that we're working with our principals. We shared this 2 years ago now, Tammy, with our principals, to really focus in on these 4 key areas to make sure that there's engaging instruction in a well-managed classroom. Kids need to know that they have, there's a predictable environment, and they need to be engaged in their instruction. If they're bored, they're not going to want to be engaged. Positive behavior and attendance support, so that we're making sure that we're encouraging positive behavior and attendance, and we recognize it, and I'll unpack that one a little bit more in a minute. That we do have a discipline system for misbehavior, problem behavior, but that it's fair and that it's consistent, and making sure that we adhere to that. And then making sure that the social and emotional learning and supportive school culture is there. And so I noticed as I walked in, and there's many things here at Heights. If you look around the room, it's warm and inviting, it's colorful. There are sayings on the walls, and I'll get to the expectations in a minute, so just briefing and making sure that you're ready for those. So making sure that we have all of these components working together for our students. I mentioned the social emotional learning, and about a year and a half ago, we as a district adopted social emotional learning standards. Now these are national-based standards that really focus into 5 key areas: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and then responsible decision-making. And we have in our district quite a number of curriculum and programs that help to support students attaining to those social emotional learning standards. So we have curriculum. Here at Heights, I know they have Love and Logic, and you guys are also Leader in Me, is that correct?
No.
No, you're not Leader in Me here. Okay. But they do Love and Logic, and quite a number of our schools also use Leader in Me, Sanford Harmony. These are all programs that help our students to learn skills of self-regulation of their emotions, of working cooperatively with others, how to deal positively with conflict, all of those kinds of things that are so important for the success of our kids, especially after they graduate and get into the workforce. We are making sure that we embed these standards into our programs. They serve as an alignment tool, and then also making sure that we have resources. We're working on various things with connections with our community as well. So these form the basis of our district expectations, and our district expectations we adopted about a year ago now. We call them the 5 R's, and they correlate to each of the standards. But our expectations for our kids is that every day they're ready, reliable, responsible, respectful role models. 5 R's. Very easy to remember, and they encapsulate those 5 areas of the social emotional learning skills. And I want you to think about it. If each of us showed up with these 5 things mastered every day, what a great day it would be, how successful we would be, how great the day would be, how good our mood would be. So these are our 5 expectations. Now, we hold these at the district. Schools actually have their own expectations, and they put them in their own form. So share with us, if you would, the expectations here at Heights.
So this summer, our staff went to training for positive behavior intervention support, and we came up with 4 expectations at our school that we could implement school-wide. So as you see here, this is, we have these expectations, the school-wide expectations. They are positive attitude, act responsibly, work together, and show respect. And each one of these are in different areas of our school. So this summer we trained our teachers on what these expectations would look like in the media center, what they would look like in the classroom, what they would look like in the hallway, cafeteria, and so forth and so on. So we actually trained our students as well, what these expectations will look like. So with that, what we do is we have a school-wide app. It's called Live School, and that app tracks the points that are tied to these school-wide expectations. So the students can actually earn points that are tied to these. So when they're exhibiting some of these behaviors, some of these expectations, they actually are able to gain points. And so we send it out to parents. Parents have logins, so they can keep a record of how their kids are doing. And so we've actually got a lot of great feedback from parents because they log on throughout the day, and they're able to see how many points their students are gaining. So we do have these tied to attendance as well. So part of acting responsibly is making sure you're here each and every day. So we tie those to the attendance rate as well. So this is our first year of implementation. We've had lots of great feedback, so we're just ready to keep going and do what we're doing well.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this is all part of a program that we use in the district called Positive Behavior Intervention Systems, or Positive Behavior Intervention Support. It depends on which way you've learned it or which part of the program you come from. It comes from a research base that says we need to first express what are the positive behaviors we want from students and each other. These also apply to staff. And then also recognize them. So there's a 4-step process here to establish those expectations, explicitly teach them, to reinforce them through recognition, and in some places they use points or they use gator bucks or whatever it may be. What's your mascot here again? Help me
Well,
remember.
we have a number of them, but we're the Panthers.
You're the
but
Panthers, so it might be Panther Bucks.
Some of the
if
older
we were
ones
here.
are
Yeah.
Hurricanes, but we're Panthers.
And then, but we still also maintain that correcting behavioral errors. So when there are mistakes, it's about correcting them, not punishment. We come back and we talk about what's the right way to behave in that particular situation. What's the expectation? So those are the 4 pillars. With that, PBIS works within a framework called MTSS, Multi-Tiered System of Supports. And Tammy is our lead in the district for MTSS, and we work very closely together. So I want you to think of it this way, that some students get these expectations right away, right? They just take to it. As a matter of fact, probably as soon as you taught some of the students, they could get up and teach it themselves. Other students need more support. They need more help in learning these expectations. Academically, the same thing happens. Some kids read naturally, they pick up a book and they just read. Other students need more support in their reading. So multi-tiered system of supports is basically a tiered approach to help students get the right level of support. And so Tammy works very hard to make sure that the schools have a good system in place. And it looks something like this. We first have to recognize that we do have a diverse population. Kids come to us with all kinds of capabilities. We, as the educators, need to stay in a process called problem solving and determine then what's the best level of support that each student needs so that each student can succeed. And this is a process that we put in place in every school. There's an intervention specialist who works in that school to make sure that there's a team that's looking at student needs, and as students have issues or problems, they're brought to that team, and then that problem solving begins to find out what are the right supports that are needed. Sometimes the support is academic, sometimes it's behavioral. Maybe it's that they need a check-in with a preferred adult in the morning, check out in the afternoon. Maybe they keep a point sheet instead of just the app. Maybe they're meeting with somebody during the day for some mentoring. It depends on what that student may need and what's going to help them be successful. So in our schools, and by the way, we have 63 active schools for PBIS. We've added 22 over the last couple of years, and I'm hoping, Dr. Adkins, to double that in the next couple of years, sir. But these are some of the things that happen with MTSS and PBIS combined. Those problem-solving teams. There's a lot of data that's collected. As you mentioned, the point system. I know that at this school, they go back and they look at how are students doing, and then how can we support which expectations are they meeting, which ones are they not, etc. I put up their token economy. In some of our schools, they use a token economy system. Not every school does. It's not necessary for them to have it to be part of PBIS, but in some schools they do. And what that means is that they can cash in those points to get certain things. Maybe school supplies, it may be preferred objects that are available, spirit objects, those kinds of things. Also making sure that we are embedding those social emotional learning curriculum and making sure that we have other avenues, non-academic avenues, to make sure that we're reinforcing this through clubs, after-school activities, etc. So our focus on our side of the house is on what we call the ABCs. Actually, all of us are focused on the ABCs. You hear a lot about the academics. We focus very heavily on the B and the C. I'm sorry, the A and the B, which is the attendance and the behavior component. And as was mentioned, attendance is important. If they're not here, they can't learn. And so using these systems to help reinforce the importance of attendance and good behavioral expectations so that they can be successful in their classroom performance is what we're about. So I look forward to talking with you more about what we provide through Positive Preventions. We have some other programs as well. I also want to introduce, we have Mr. Ryan Hudak here, who is now our equity coordinator for the district and chief equity officer. So he'll be sitting over there at the table with me. And I look forward to talking with you tonight. At this time, I'm not going to take questions here. I'll take questions at the table. But at this time, I'll turn it over to Crystal.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Crystal Torres Nunez. I'm a diversity and inclusion coach for the School District of Lee County. Welcome, and thank you for coming out. So tonight, we're going to have our staff that is here with the different departments stand up and introduce their individual department initiatives. Dr. Negron, since you're up front, of course, I'm going to call on you first. We have Dr. Negron from ESOL. He's just going to give you a brief overview. So we'll go through an overview for each department and the parents that we have here tonight. You will have the opportunity to kind of float through the different departments to ask any relevant questions.
Okay, good evening. My name is Carlos Negron. I'm the ELL coordinator for the school district. And ELL stands for, this is another acronym, English Language Learners. Our department serves approximately 13,000 English language learners. Those are students that are coming from either other countries or they were born here and they're learning English as a second language, and some of them even as a third language. So the services that we provide in our department is we train teachers to make sure that the teachers are well prepared to provide comprehensible instruction for these students that have not mastered English yet and still have to pass those standardized tests. So other things that we do is we provide accommodations for those students to access that curriculum that they have to master. We provide accommodations such as additional time, bilingual dictionaries, also paraprofessionals that assist in the classroom, and a lot of different things to make sure that they're getting the instruction that they deserve. Basically what we do is we monitor the students when they come in, we identify the ones that really need those support, and we work with the teachers, principals, to make sure that they have the resources, supplementary materials to meet the needs of the students, not only linguistically, but also culturally. And after they go through the entire process of learning a second language, we monitor their progress, and toward the end of the process, we test the students to make sure that they have actually learned the skills that they need to be successful in school and outside of school, and that's when they exit our program. But we provide a lot of services, and they're entitled also to any other services that the school or the school district provide to any other students. Okay? We have over 13,000 ELL students in the whole district, so we have a big job on our shoulders to make sure that they're getting what they need. Any questions about the program, or do you want to wait for those?
Thank you, Dr. Megan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to go right over to Ms. Rita Davis. She's Adult and Career Technical Education.
Good evening. I serve two departments. Adult education is for adults seeking their GED, so they did not receive their high school diploma, so they come through us. Last semester we had over 2,000 adult students in adult ed. We have 8 physical locations and 1 online, and we're very proud of the students we serve, and we also have part-time employment opportunities for our teachers and the community through our adult ed program. We have a lifelong learning program in adult ed, which is community education, which is open to anyone 16 years of age and older, and they're very low cost, high fun, highly engaging classes, so we invite you to participate in that and possibly even teach one of those courses for us. And then we also have ESOL, so we work very closely with Evelyn Rivera and also Dr. Negron because we help our adults in the community, and that is the highest proportion of our adult ed students are our English language learners who are adults. So they come to us to learn English where English is not their first language. The other department I serve is Career and Technical Education for grades 6 through 12. Currently, we have over 32,000 different course enrollments in career and tech ed, and we've been working over the last few years to increase the number of career academies at our middle and high schools. Some major initiatives that we're excited about this year: we're working on an internship app with a graduate from Florida Gulf Coast University so that we can involve our community partners with offering jobs very easily and seamlessly to our high school students in our career academies. We're also working on something we've never done before, but we're very excited about, and that's called the Excel Bus, Excellent Career Exploration Lab, for our elementary students, so that we can take a bus all around the district and it will have learning kiosks with different careers for the students to explore. So we're excited about that. And then we are also working to have a career advisory board in each of our high schools to make sure that community members, business owners, and parents have an equal voice in the say of the programs that are being implemented at their child's school. So thank you, and I look forward to answering more questions at my table.
Thank you. And we're going to move right on to Mr. Rick Parfit. for safety and security.
Thank you. Good evening. Safety and security at Lee County School District is kind of an all-encompassing kind of an office. We have a small staff, but we supervise or oversee a number of different security-related things. Chuck Bradley mentioned the physical security, and that's one aspect. And we do things like fire safety. We inspect buildings for those kinds of things. Building safety. So we work closely with the maintenance department and some of the other projects that safety and security are thought of that we work with, including the physical safety, are, for example, access control, which we're increasing in our school district, which are card access on doors, cameras. So a lot of our schools are gaining new cameras and security systems in those regards. So we work closely with our technology services folks as well. We're the liaison with the school resource officers, and all of our schools have at least one school resource officer. And we are the liaison with those folks. So we work with 4 different law enforcement agencies that provide school resource officers to the district. Along with that, all the other emergency service agencies that have a connection to the school district, whether that be emergency medical services, fire departments, things like that. The safety and security have a large role in our hurricane operations because as the school district, we have 14 of our schools and we're adding others to hurricane shelters. And Lee County has a real need for shelter space. The county does not have enough shelter space, so we're the largest provider of shelters in the county, and it's anticipated that we'll add a few more of those schools as well. So those are some of the things that we do from the safety and security aspect. Lastly, we work with the conduct folks, our counseling and mental health folks, and providing some of the assistance in mental health training, and also threat assessment and behavioral threat assessment and management. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move right along to Ms. Teresa Bowen, who is our Director of Exceptional Student Education, along with Dr. Deidre Phillips, who is over Fiddlers.
Thank you. Good evening. I am Teresa Bowen. I'm the Director of ESE, is another acronym that you'll hear when we're talking about Exceptional Student Education. And we are a department that works to help our schools serve students that are considered exceptional. So that means that it's kind of outside of our general population. So the majority of our students that we serve, there's over 11,000 students with disabilities. They have what's called an individual education plan, and they have qualified for these services based off of state criteria. And we work with the schools to ensure that we have programs and specialized services available for those students that are individualized to their needs. The other piece to our department is, as well as ensuring that there are programs and specialized instruction available for our students that are gifted learners. So that is the other part to our department, both of the service areas. As Crystal mentioned, Dr. Deidre Phillips is here as well with us, so if you do have questions concerning what's available to parents through our department, Deidre is a really good resource for that. She is our coordinator for the Florida Diagnostic Learning and Resources System, which is another mouthful. And she would be happy to talk with you about all of the parent supports that we have for students with disabilities, as well as training that's offered for parents, and we also offer training for staff through Fiddlers. And the other piece that most people are aware of are that this is how our kids that are not yet in school get to our pre-K programs for students with disabilities. They come and start through Fiddlers, through our Child Find. So stop by and see us if you have questions.
You want to say anything? No? We're going to move on to Miss Tammy Scott, who is over our MTSS.
MTSS stands for Multi-Tiered System of Supports, and Mr. Bradley did a fabulous job explaining. We do work very closely together. One thing that most parents don't understand is that we work on the academic and the behavior side. So we support all schools and the intervention specialists there. And in addition, in order to ensure that our graduation rate will be over 90%, we work through our MTSS process and through our graduation department to ensure that our students are getting what they need. So if you feel that you need your questions answered or help with that, I'm the person that will at least help you and guide you into the right place.
And we did, Mr. Chuck Bradley, who's our Director of Positive Prevention and Discipline, is in the back as well. He came up earlier, so he's already introduced himself. Do we have any other district representatives? I think Ms. Irma's in the back. She's our communications. She's our Director of Communications. So at this time, since everyone has introduced themselves, I'm going to allow the parents to kind of move around to the different areas and ask any questions that relate to those areas that you feel you may have questions pertaining to. So at this point, you have an open floor.
I don't really have anything to say except for thank you. Just getting to hear everybody's little job is important because it puts everything back in perspective that it's our kids. So I just thank everybody for what they do, everything they do every day, keeping our kids safe, keeping our kids educated, keeping our kids feeling good about what they're doing. So, thank you. Who they are.
Yeah, really, just kind of reiterate what Ms. Giovannelli said, and also you know, what we said earlier. Thank you very much for being here. You know, I do wish, you know, get the word out if the next one that we have, because we do want to offer the expertise that's in our district to our parents and our community. Some of our events have been extremely well attended, and other ones have not so much. But I think we try to get the word out, but I think the more avenues that we explore to get the word out, it allows people to come out and really meet face-to-face the experts that we have in the district. Because like I said, I really think that I feel blessed to be able to work with such a talented group of individuals. And I just wish everybody knew and wish you could share them with everybody. But these are great opportunities for that to happen. So we are planning to have others, so watch out for that. And if you encourage others to participate, I would certainly appreciate it. But thank you for taking the time. I know it's right after the holidays and it's late and everybody's tired, but you took the time, and I certainly appreciate it. And I want to say to my wonderful, terrific staff, thank you so much for taking the time to come out here and join us this evening. I greatly appreciate your efforts. And you know, we are going to, we are filming this, of course, and we can put that out on our web, so at least there is an opportunity to see some of these presentations out there on the web later. So thank you very much, and everyone have a wonderful...
We also have Miss Jordan, in addition to Ms. Giovannelli, who's here with us today.
Yes, Ms. Jordan.
I'm just here. I'm part of the fixtures.
So two of our board members come out and support us this evening, so thank you very much. And with having said that, thank you for being here. Have a wonderful evening and a safe trip home.
Thank you. Thank you.